Ah, yes, there we are. We are live, which of course means it is noon Eastern time on a Wednesday, which is always and forever time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us in various places. If you're on the old Facebook machine, we are at the Temptations Beach Facebook page. If you're on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, we're at Temptations. And of course, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. Make sure you go check all those out, follow, subscribe, and whatnot. I'm Stoner Jesus. I do various shenanigans and stuff on the internet. Of course, he is Beach. He is high. Well, I don't know where he is actually. He's somewhere, an undisclosed location. I'm so used to saying he's high above the Temptations. I guess he's high behind the Temptations at this point. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
It is true. I am high. I'm high above the water of the good old Ohio River. Is what I'm high above, the Ohio River. Um, so not as undisclosed as before, but you have to know where my boat is to know where that. So, but this is the new studios, the new Planet Everywhere studios. It is true, located high above the Ohio River. Um, things are chugging along. Just so everybody knows, remember this: the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy, for that matter. Remember, and let's go ahead and do our hand pledge of allegiance.
Indeed. Whoops. Hold
Get
on.
it there so everyone can read along with me if you want.
Now we got it going. There we go.
And here I thought my internet was going to be slow. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all.
Indeed.
So there you have it. Thanks to Coach Freddie. I saw Coach Freddie recently. He stopped by. He was on his national pickleball tour. Now I think he was just he's all over the place. If you're ever lucky enough to, he was coming back from I think NOCO, but if you're ever lucky enough to hang around Coach Freddie, he is awesome. So, all right, well let's just jump right into the High Noon Hemp Show. It is a hump show, I guess. It's a hump day, as they call Wednesday, for whatever reason that they call Wednesday. That's the first time I've ever made that mistake, actually. But now I can't stop seeing that camel screaming, hump day. Anyway, product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show. 4 from the store, 1 from my door. And the 4 from the store this week are all beverages. Beverages are big these days in the hemp world, that's for sure. This first one is Senorita, and these are non-alcoholic margarita drinks. One's a mango and one's spicy. And I've been drinking the spicy one a little bit. It's got a little spice to it. It's not, too crazy. You can kind of get the hint of the spice on it. And the mango one is delicious as well, honestly. Sometimes if I really get but if we're really partying it down, which we very rarely do, I'll actually add some tequila and make it an alcoholic with THC. And again, I left out the best part. This is THC. So this is Delta 9. Once again, THC, legally extracted from industrial hemp. It's not a huge amount, so it's not like it's going to send you over the edge or anything. But very good. This next one is actually a THC as well, Delta 9, and this is the Mary Jones root beer. And again, this is part of the Jones, the big national Jones drink company. But again, this has the THC, legally extracted from industrial hemp, 100% legal. I think that also has, I believe, 5 milligrams. So I haven't tried these yet, which I can't believe because I do like root beer and I do like THC. And so I'm gonna have to get one of these next time I'm in the store and try them out just to see what I think one way or another. The next one is a Delta 8 drink. And again, Delta 8 is it gets a bad rap because they describe it as synthetic, but it is synthesized from industrial hemp. So it's not like they're making it from petrochemicals or something. They're actually Delta 8 is actually made from byproducts of industrial hemp. But anyway, and it's you feel effects of it, but it's not as strong as Delta 9 is THC. So, and I've yet to try one of these, so I think it's a berry flavor. So I feel like that would probably be pretty good as well. Now I have tried the last one, which is the CBD drinks, and these are the wild CBD drinks. The blackberry and the orange are just CBD, but the pomegranate is actually CBD and CBN. And so, that'd be one you might want to drink, before you go to bed. We're seeing a lot of our customers are telling us that, the CBN is definitely helping when you add it to CBD, definitely helps with sleep issues as well. So, CBN is kind of, again, on the downside. And we are starting to see more and more CBD products with CBN that are directed more towards nighttime use. It's not like if you take them, you're going to not be able to stay awake if it's during the day. But I do believe that they do, they provide our customers, at least, and some of the other testimonials that I've seen, people with that better longevity sleep and whatnot. So there you have it. 4 from the store. That's Temptations. Now the one from my door is actually custom. These are custom washcloth and hand towel. And these were made at the Planet Everywhere manufacturing. We were going full blown with that in what I call the no sweat shop. And if you zoom in on the green, the border part, they almost look like, and I think it was supposed to be somewhat of a leaf pattern. I think, did I send you the picture over that, or I didn't?
Oh, the next one? Yeah, hold on.
Yeah. The next picture is kind of a close-up see. It is actually little tiny hemp leaves, pretty much going all the way around. And this was a machine did all this.
Wow.
And so, definitely one of a kind, custom made washcloth and hand towel, and it's kind of a thicker hemp too. So they've been very, very good to me. As you can see, they're well used, but they show no wear. Well used, but show no wear. I mean, they're not even thinning anywhere, but you can tell by looking at them that I definitely use them. And again, have been washed multiple times, but yet this particular weave really worked well. And I don't know if it was originally like a thin towel weave or not, but this particular weave of hemp material has worked very well for both the washcloth and the hand towel. And once again, they're still like pretty thick, but they absorb as well, which is a lot of times when you get hemp fabric right out of the gate, it is naturally water resistant. And so it takes a little bit for it to start to soak in the water. That's what made, like hemp canvas, like a waxed hemp canvas would be water resistant. Definitely be water resistant. So anyway, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed. And I can hear the clamoring. I can't hear it here, but I can imagine the clamoring. The people are like, what? Wait a minute. All that's great. But I'm here for one thing and one thing only. I mean, the other stuff is awesome, the hemp infotainment, but the pinnacle, if you will, of internet broadcasting is the beachwear segment on the High Noon Hemp Show. And as I've said many times, it can be here, it can be anywhere. If you just stop Beach on the street and ask him what he is wearing, he will tell you all about it. And that's what I do every week we're on here. I ask Beach one simple question, and he tells me all about what he's wearing. When I ask, what are you wearing, Beach?
If you didn't know, that was my fake runway walk. Stop. As that brilliant intro was going on for the What Are You Wearing Beach show. So here you have it, this week's, or yes, today, Wednesday's hemp outfit. And as stated, I wear hemp head to toe every day. Even my down on the boat, my boat shorts and my swim trunks have just a tiny bit of hemp in them, but they have hemp in them. And I will wear those soon, I am sure, on the High Noon Hemp Show. What Are You Wearing Beach segment. But from top to bottom there, on top there, that is an E-Conscious hat. My shirt is an Ono, once again printed at the Planet Everywhere manufacturing facilities back in the day. I call this the U.S. hemp tee. It's a hemp leaf, and then it actually has a U.S. hemp number, like 1937 420 on it, like the military would do. My shorts there are crop circle shorts, old company. I have a couple good pairs of their shorts still. Again, these shorts probably are 20 years old, at least at this point, and again, show very, very little wear at all. Of course, in the pocket, as always, is my Green Springs Technology pen. Underneath it all, I've got a pair of Satori boxers, and kind of camouflaged beside those Satori boxers are my Oasis no-show socks, which I wear, no-shows all through the summer, obviously, because I always wear shorts. And then underneath it all, or getting me around, I should say, are my Saucony Jazz sneakers. And again, this is probably one of, I think the Saucony Jazz, second to my Adidas, is the largest selection of shoes that I have. And one of the reasons is because the Jazz line is their vegan line. And so all of my Saucony shoes are actually vegan. Not that I'm a vegan or even a vegetarian, but as I say, I support the idea and the lifestyle of veganism when I can, if it's a choice. Honestly, I eat very little meat, and I try to substitute that with vegan or vegetarian options. But because, again, I believe that for multiple reasons, whether it's humane, health, conscious, whatever, you want to look at it, everyone should support the vegan lifestyle, even if you want to eat meat. You don't have to, you're not a vegan if you eat meat, but you can still, again, support the ideology of the lifestyle when you can. And hemp is great for that, on a food and a clothing option, one way or another. So there you have it. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know, here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Well, we got the big debate tomorrow night. I think it's tomorrow night. I'm not trying to really pay attention. I think that it's, most hilarious that they had to completely change the rules so that they could even end up with a logical debate, only because one party refuses to play by debate rules, as we have seen in the past. But either way, this just leads me to want to show you definitely my favorite 1-minute commercial that I ever made. So we'll be back with the news right after this commercial.
What is your stance on Hemptations? I am pro Hemptations. I am anti-Hemptations. It is said Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp on the planet. Thoughts? My opponent would say food and fiber, but I say CBD and plastics. Simply not false. I would go on to add body products and paper. What's the one location you want everyone to know about? Well, they are all great, so start with the one closest to you. I say adventure out to the store furthest from you. Closing words? Use hemp to help the planet. Help the planet by using hemp. Having temptations? I am having temptations.
I am having temptations. Man, every time I watch that commercial, I'm like, man, that was a brilliant one. That was one of the best ones again that I have. I truly feel like I've written and done as again. That's part of the Beach Triplets. The Triple Me. I should call them the Triple Me commercials, which I did quite a bit of and really enjoyed coming up with multiple characters and whatnot for this. So. All right, thanks everybody for watching the High Noon Hemp Show today. Let's get on with some news. We got a couple weeks worth of news going on, so let's just jump right into it. This is pretty cool. The USDA has awarded the National Industrial Hemp Council of America $750,000 grant to promote the exportation of hemp. And so once again, if you don't know, we, and it's getting less and less slowly, but we import probably we import at least 60% of our material from China. Okay. And then the other 40% is Europe and other countries. We might be able to say that we're only importing maybe 98% of our material right now because we are actually growing and making possibly 2%. And I don't know, one of the first, and I'll talk about this, facilities to mill and weave. I don't know if they're going to come up with these or they're just going to weave or mill it into the fiber to be woven. I'm not sure on that. But that's the first things that we need to do in the United States, because we haven't done that, is come up with mills and then be able to come up with the material. My understanding is North Carolina, if you want, material made in the United States, apparently North Carolina is a good option. And so, hopefully some of those mills are figuring out how to weave the hemp into the materials that have the highest demand. The first one is the t-shirt weave. I think the second one would be a jean weave, which is a lot easier for 100% hemp than the t-shirt weave. But even if they're already working with the cotton like crazy, even if they can work that 55, I'd like to maybe 60-40, bump that up a little bit, 65-35 blend of hemp to cotton, which is kind of what the hemp industry did to make a t-shirt that's, consistent to what you're looking for in a t-shirt. We need to up that game now in the United States and make 100% hemp t-shirt that is either a thin weave or a little thicker weave, whether it's a t-shirt or a summer t-shirt. We need to do both. And then the clothing line really start adapting materials designed for the clothing line, so we can start making more and more clothes out of hemp, period. Have that material ready for the shoes. They tend to use a heavy canvas, and just coming up with a heavy canvas, period. The tarp industry. You can still go and buy a canvas tarp. Those canvas tarps, I hope some of them are actually made out of hemp, because the word canvas is actually derived from cannabis. But you start making canvas tarps out of hemp again, and they will be stronger, better, longer, blah, blah, blah. You just get that right weave and 100%. You can get that really heavy thickness very easily by using 100% hemp when which should be the option everywhere we go. The blends make it easier to do, say, a silk. But in my opinion, if we can blend hemp with silk, and I can have hemp silk pillowcases, and they feel more like silk than anything, then that means we should be able to maybe make a weave that's 100% hemp that feels like silk. The possibilities are honestly endless with where the direction should go with making 100% materials. Right now we've already accepted that 55-45 blend. And again, we just keep reducing that cotton until the cotton goes away, because cotton has made the planet go away in so many ways that it's not right. And that industry has taken advantage of humans by enslavement, and all the way to taking advantage of the planet by its use in chemicals. It's the largest user of any agricultural crop of chemicals, any plant grown in the world. And hemp is 4 to 6 times stronger than that. So, we'll see. And I think that would be the first material that we would want to try to export. Food material, we've got a long way to go before we're going to be exporting food like Canada. Again, we get the majority of our hemp food seed products from Canada right now. We've got a long way to go before we can even compete with that and keep it in the country. Building materials maybe, but I think a lot of other countries are really ahead of us when it comes to building materials, unfortunately. Insulation and those type of things, it's all over Europe already. And so, hemp plastic, hemp composite, yeah, let's start making everything we can out of that and exporting it all over the world. How great would it be if we could export hemp composite materials to China to get rid of all their plastic that they have made for us, and for packaging materials that have just those alone, that's awful. So let's we'll see what the National Industrial Hemp Council of America does, and hopefully it gets more farmers growing for fiber and food, grain, as opposed to CBD. But I don't think we need to focus on exporting CBD. We need to focus on making and having the exportation of either food products or clothing or material products, whatever. So, and then again, construction materials. Yeah, if we can do that. Yeah, if we can export hemp wood out of the, that's one thing that's really not out in the Europe or in the international world is the hemp wood. We have a hemp wood company that's been functioning down in Kentucky now for years, making and designing some of the coolest flooring, wood, panels, 2x4s, 4x4s, stuff you can lathe, wood blocks, hemp blocks, I should say, that you can lathe. Unbelievable stuff being made from the hemp wood company in Kentucky. So get with them if you're looking for some hemp wood. It's still not super cheap, but I think that the whole benefit of spending more to get less, so to speak, no trees had to be cut down. The planet is the one that's enjoying that that saving, as opposed to you not saving as much by maybe using something else. But that's we have to commit to doing that if we really want to make the planet again so to speak. So there's an article, matcha is trending in skincare, which I did not know about. Here are 8 of the best products to try. Well, guess what number 1 was? It was Crave Beauty. I think I sent a picture of this over. Matcha Hemp Hydrating Cleanser. And, of course, once again, I feel like any skincare product that didn't have hemp in it couldn't possibly be the best skincare product for you one way or another. They went on to describe it as packed with vitamin B and nourishing hemp seed oil. This non-stripping is perfect for those with drier skin types who want to effectively cleanse the skin without stripping away any essential moisture. And again, there's no doubt in my mind about hemp's hydrating abilities. I don't use hemp lotion on a regular basis. And the reason that I don't use hemp lotion on a regular basis is because my skin is pretty healthy. And when I do use hemp lotion, it actually tends to get overhydrated or a little oily. I use it when I need it, when I know I am dehydrated, when I know my skin needs it. But if I have noticed that if I use it too much, and so if you do suffer from dry skin, this is something I definitely think for daily use, anything with hemp oil, any hemp lotion would be beneficial. That's why I truly think like any skincare products, it behooves them because it's chock full of that protein, those vitamins, those omegas, essential fatty acids, and the skin can use those just as much as we can internally use those. And so, I will have to say that my hemp use skincare products like shampoos, soap, lotion when I do need it, if I feel like I need it, continue to make me feel like I look young. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't started using a CBD cream around my eyes, to get the inflammation down to help with the wrinkles yet. But I do think that CBD cream or a hemp lotion with CBD probably optimally, just a little bit, would help with those type of things. And so, because we know that, from testimonials that hemp is anti-inflammatory. And I think that inflammation is what causes wrinkles. And so, I do believe there's a causation there, not a correlation, but it's worth trying. I'm sure of that. So anyway, there you have it. Matcha's trending. The number 1 skincare product with matcha in it, according to these people, is a hemp product. So right on. So Iowa already getting sued. Good job, Iowa. You they put a ban on, I believe, not a ban, but I believe initiated THC content laws. And they are already, once again, getting sued. I don't know what those content laws are. I don't know what's really going to happen, but we'll see. But, as always, I predict this, and it usually happens. And an all-out ban, the state almost inevitably gets sued. This one, I think, is policy change. And so, regulating how much legal industrial hemp THC you can have in a product. And so, it's getting challenged. So we'll see. I'll let everybody know how that goes when I find out. But they just literally, I don't even think the law has gone into effect yet. I think it goes into effect possibly July 1st. But because they just passed it a 3 months ago. And so there it is. We'll see what happens with that. This is interesting. Speaking of state overstep. So in New Jersey, Okay, they're trying to write a bill or something that they want to regulate CBD sales in smoke shops, gas stations, and delis, which again will most likely shut down all CBD sales in the state one way or another. I don't know how. Like, if you're one of these, and it says they want to regulate, and so I feel like it's like a licensing thing. And to me, my biggest issue for this is, so if I'm not a smoke shop, a gas station, and what's the definition of a smoke shop? What, obviously a gas station is easy to define. If you have fuel, you're a gas station. Deli, pretty easy to define. But my whole thing is, so okay, so if you're just a CBD store, then that's okay. This is, to me, a anti-consumerism bill, okay? Because it's just not fair. I mean, if I was in New Jersey, they could define our store as a smoke shop because we sell smokables, even though I think the percentage is not the majority. The majority of the products that we have in the stores are hemp, clothing, paper, composite, all the other hemp stuff that we have, plus the CBD and all that as well, dog leashes, whatever, all made out of industrial hemp. And then, we have a decent selection of smokables, and we also sell a lot of incense. So what percentage of smokables makes you a smoke shop? Okay. And then once again, it's just not, let's say they can't define me as a smoke shop, so I'm exempt from the rule. I still don't think it's fair. Okay. All right. Consumerism is my business. Retail is consumerism. It's been my business for 28 years. Industrial hemp, call it, say what you will. Capitalism is one thing. Consumerism is different. Okay. Consumerism just promotes the idea that everyone, in my opinion, everyone should be allowed to sell whatever products they want to sell, and consumers should be able to go wherever they want to go to pick these products. To say that one guy on this corner can sell a product and the guy across the street can't sell the product because he's defined as one business when they're both retail. If all four corners have retail and only one guy, because he's not a deli, a gas station, or a smoke shop, gets to sell the product, that is 100% not fair to those other retailers. Okay. And I don't think that even if they pass the bill, that, again, I feel like that one is also going to be immediately addressed as an anti-consumerism bill. You just can't do that. There's one thing I know about consumerism laws, and that's one thing that you just can't do. And that all comes from the fact that a state can't ban, say, industrial hemp flower, okay, because all industrial hemp products are legal. And so if I can get CBD in a tincture legally, then I should be able to get CBD legally in the flower, as long as it's industrial hemp flower. But certain places have tried to ban certain forms of CBD or hemp products. And once again, because of consumerism laws, basically says you can't do that. You can't do that. So I do feel like New Jersey's probably going to get if this gets through their House and Senate and gets passed and signed by the governor. I think it is immediately going to get overturned. The consumer has a right to go anywhere they want to buy whatever they want, other than tobacco and alcohol, because then you do and in most states have to have a license to sell alcohol. So those spaces may be limited. It should not be that way with CBD. Again, it is that way with THC. What they call marijuana. That's the way most of those laws are written. You have to have a license, and then you're regulated and all that. But CBDs should remain over the counter, no matter whose counter it is. It should be available to everyone. There's no harm. They're not keeping anyone any safer. They're not keeping anyone any safer by saying you can't go to a gas station and get your CBD. And if people are already used to buying their CBD products and they work for them and they do what they want them to do at the gas station, who is the government to say you can't go there? You have to go across the street to this guy who doesn't have any smokables, doesn't have any gas, and obviously doesn't have any lunch meat. Because apparently lunch meat is a terrible place to put CBD because they specifically mentioned delis. And so again, I don't know. We'll keep our eyes on this one, New Jersey. I have a feeling that this may not go very far because I think it's more or less just in discussions right now that they're thinking about doing this, or it's been written and they're discussing. I don't know. But once again, if it gets signed by the governor, this one will 100%, in my opinion. Go ahead and call me Hempstradamus. I'm going to predict this one will be, in fact, seen in court as well. Very appropriate right now. Obviously, if your pet is tired, an article I found, if your pet is terrified of fireworks, these expert recommended products will help, will really help. And of course, once again, what's the number one product on the list? CBD. Anything with CBD in it. I've said it a lot, and this is the time of year when it is a good reminder to everyone. If your dog, it's mostly dogs. I don't know. Maybe you have a cat I've never seen a cat get freaked out by fireworks. But if you have a dog that gets freaked out by fireworks, loud noises, thunderstorms, then CBD is great. Josie, my 90-pound Doberman, 100% freaks out for thunderstorms. I treat her up beforehand if I know it's coming. If it hits, I treat her up. And I just use our Hemptations brand in hemp oil. Both of them are super healthy for your pet. You don't need nothing specially flavored. Just drop it on their treat, drop it into their mouth if you want directly. But it is the only thing that, besides, keeping her right by my side, that actually keeps her calm or calms her down and allows her to be okay. And so, there's this one I have seen work firsthand many a time over the last 10 years or so with her. She's 11. I'd say that from the first moment we knew she had issues with thunderstorms, we started giving her CBD. For the record, I've been selling CBD for 15, 16 years probably. Before we were growing and it was a huge industry in the United States. So either way, if you have an anxious animal, period, cat or dog, separation anxiety, a lot of our customers use CBD products for separation anxiety. A lot of our customers, it's kind of almost, I'd say, if I was divided up, like I do the human use of our CBD products. The pet use is mostly anxiety or age related, wanting to make, not trying to heal anything. It doesn't heal anything, but it makes the comfort of living better for an older pet. Would help with joint issues, skin issues, any of that type stuff. And then again for thunderstorms, fireworks, things like that. That's the three main reasons I think most of the pet owners use it. We used to have a cat that just loved the stuff. I mean, honestly, I would open up the bottle and he would hear the bottle being opened and come running. Like if I was giving some to Josie and I opened up the bottle, the dog, here'd come the wildcat, running like double step, wanting some. Loved the hemp oil CBD. So our Hemptations brand CBD, which is just CBD and hemp oil. That's it. Nothing else. That's simple and easy, and that's what people want in the long run, honestly. So, yes, next week's the big day, so be prepared. I'm sure I will definitely be talking about that next week on the Independence Day, Hempendence Day episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. Oh, I mentioned it before, and I'm going to now give you the big news. I talked about this probably about 6 months ago, as they're putting the finishing touches on it. I think they even opened up a little earlier than predicted. But the Panda Hemp Gin facility, okay, they're not going to make gin. They're a gin, like a cotton gin. When really, I'm surprised they didn't call it the hemp decortator facility, because that's probably, and maybe they now have a gin design that works with hemp. And again, that would be, I see what they're doing. Anyway, it's in Wichita Falls, Texas, I think. If I remember, Wichita Falls. It is up and running. This is the largest processing facility in the Western Hemisphere, and the second largest in the world. And once again, this is a game changer for the hemp fabric industry in the United States. They will. They can process. They can process up to 22,000 pounds of hemp an hour. Like, I don't even know, how they're going to do that right now, as to what's being grown in the United States. But, the fact of the matter is they are willing to give you free seeds if you want to grow their particular panda fiber, hemp fiber, and I assume there's some type of buyback deal at the end of that, or you can, when you're getting your free seeds, find out whether they have a buyback deal. And so they're going to buy that hemp from you at the end of the year, and then gin it up, make it into what I believe would then be made into the fibers. Once again, this is something that's huge. It's decently located. It's in the, obviously it's in the South more, but it is in the middle of the country. And so I'm hoping that I didn't even look to see where. I assume that Wichita Falls, if it's in Texas, is the northern part, possibly. I don't. Does Texas border Kansas? I should know these geological things of the United States, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because all I can see is Oklahoma over most of the top of Texas.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's in between them.
And then you got like Arkansas over here on the right. But anyway, so But again, game changer for all fiber growers in the United States. And if you obviously you want to become at this point, it's almost too late to get this year's crop in. I would say, depending on where you are, I don't know, man. Get a hold of Panda. If they can give you free seeds tomorrow and you get them in the soil, you may be able to get a crop out of this year yet. But you can plant pretty late. And so, we're close to July. That may be almost too late, but it normally goes into the ground in June anyway. So you might be able to, depending on the state and how quickly you can get a license, or if you really have. I'm sure you need a license one way or another in your state. But there may be states that are willing to issue a license because you're growing for fiber very quickly, one way or another. But if not, come on, farmers. Next year, free seeds. Get a hold of Panda now. Find out what this free seed is about as far as growing their particular fiber. I believe it's called Panda. Their cultivar. It's called Panda. It is a fiber crop. And so, yeah. I mean, what else do you need? All you really need is the acreage.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't require any herbicides or pesticides. Maybe a little water, but if it gets enough water, the right water, decently early, it doesn't need much after that, as far as water goes. And, you can grow 3 times as much cotton on the same acre. And it's going to use a lot less water when it gets processed into material. So I look forward to hopefully getting the word out as much as possible. Spread the word that Panda in Wichita Falls, Panda, the company Wichita Falls, is offering free hemp seeds to grow for fiber, which is what they are designed to process. Second largest facility in the entire world to do this. So, game changer in the material. This is what we need. Let's make it into material. Let's make it into all those things we can make, use it in whatever materials like I was talking about earlier. Speaking of materials and clothing, Massimo Alba clothing line is releasing. They're showing off their spring of 2025. So although you might have to wait a year almost, 9 months or so to get any of this clothing, their spring line is pretty much all hemp. And I quote, using hemp, it is a noble fiber with a richness to it and a very particular touch. It is also special to me for what it has represented in the history of Italy and the world. Once again, if you don't know, and I've mentioned it many a time, the finest hemp material comes from Italy. And I do believe that's why Massimo Alba feels the way he does about how hemp feels to him, because if you're in Italy, you're literally working with the finest hemp in the world, and so good for him to recognize actually how Italy is basically known for primo hemp material, primo hemp fiber, growing and processing and making it into whatever it may be. I've mentioned it before, and I don't know if it's still available because I haven't been to their website. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But I'm going to totally flake on the big tuxedo company's name now. I can't believe it. I mentioned it so many times. Armani, gosh. Armani has at one point, I don't know if they still do, they had an option for a $5,000 Armani hemp suit that they would custom design you, or that was available. I don't even know if it was custom design, just in different sizes, so to speak. And so, that shows you. And of course, Armani came out in the late 80s, early 90s, and admitted that he used hemp in his linens, tablecloths and curtains and all of those things. No, I'm sorry, that was Ralph Lauren. I apologize. Armani does have a line of shirts, like lower end shirts, and I believe pants that are hemp based as well. And so it is known. And of course, I don't know if Dolce & Gabbana is Italian. I would assume that maybe they are, but that's the hemp suit that I have is Dolce & Gabbana. And again, it's a weave similar to a linen weave. It's the weave that's important as to the softness or the thickness or the pattern, the waft and shoot. I forget. There's a name for the direction of both left and right. When they weave the fibers, and I used to know them. What that was called, but they have kind of weird names. But that's what makes them a material, a specific material, so to speak. Canvas, denim. And so look forward for more Italian, a little upscale Italian. I guess they're going to continue with that, and hopefully, it'll trickle down to us common people, and they'll start making, things that we can possibly afford as well. But, if the uppity ups in the fashion world do something, then eventually it's picked up by the lessers, the mass producers, maybe. I don't know what you want to call them, of whatever. And so the more hemp that's being used in the fashion industry, definitely we're going to see more hemp in the everyday fashion, the common fashion industry, so I should say. I don't want to call it the fashion industry because none of us think that, going to shop for a T-shirt or a shirt or a pair of jeans or a pair of shoes is part of the fashion industry. We're not part of the fashion industry. The average person, which is one reason why I think I never got into the clothing aspect of things, because it's so crazy. I mean, one way or another. Well, I have, bragged more than once about how if you want to go to university and you want to do the best thing for yourself in the hemp industry, you want to go to Oregon State University, because they are once again proving that they are dedicated to industrial hemp and the education of industrial hemp and the applications of industrial hemp on every level, including material, as you will see in these outfits. These were designed by an apparel design club. Okay, they have an apparel design club at Oregon State University, and they wanted to use hemp, and they are also naturally dyed. And so these colors were naturally produced, which again, synthetic dyes are just a big issue. Yes, they keep your clothes looking the exact same color that you want them to for as long as possible. But the making of the synthetic dyes and the waste is really where the issue comes along. But this is kind of a classic, what I almost call it like a bowler shirt, or maybe like they kind of said something about a Rat Pack look, so it's like kind of a 50s look to them. But I like it. And again, knowing how much industrial hemp is available, and how much Oregon State University really wants to expand on every aspect of the industrial hemp industry. This is a pretty neat little project that this apparel club came up with at the university using hemp. And wouldn't surprise me at all if some clothing line doesn't pick it up somehow and they end up making some money on it. I don't know how all that can. I guess they either sell a design or the idea to someone or whatever. But what a great concept. Once again, we need about 70 to 80% of all the clothing on the entire planet to be made out of hemp. Right now, we're at less than 2%, I believe, if I saw correctly. No, maybe not. No, I'm sorry, 14%. I think, I don't know, might have even been less than 10. I forget. Basically, you got cotton and synthetic material are like 80 to 90% of all the clothing in the world is made out of, and both of those are exponentially destroying the planet in the worst of ways. That's why the theory of industrial hemp and the conspiracy around one of the conspiracies around industrial hemp is the fact that the cotton gin was pretty new. And once again, they were already. I don't know if they were really using chemicals yet. But DuPont invented or got a patent for the first synthetic fiber in 1937. I think that the timing is more coincidence than anything else. There are a lot of other aspects, from the timber industry not wanting paper to be made out of hemp anymore, to the fuel industry, because you can use hemp in the original biodiesels were invented for hemp, with hemp and other things, until the petrochemical companies got their hands in the diesel industry, fuel, gasoline, blah blah blah. But as far as the being grown for the fiber, which is what the majority of farmers in the United States were doing, that's why I believe it's the most likely conspiracy, if any of them are true, is that the timber industry and the cotton industry were conspiring against industrial hemp, because they were its two major competitors, and so I think that if they would have made hemp machinery, started making hemp breaking machinery as early as the cotton gin, there might have been, it might have been a little bit harder to do, because that was the biggest part of hemp, is how labor intensive it was to break it. Now there was machines, decorticators, that, same thing they're basically doing now to break the hemp, because that stalk is so strong when it is fresh in the field, mature. So, we'll see, but once again, promoting hemp material and hemp fiber for multiple reasons. Again, 4 to 6 times stronger than cotton, right there. Strongest natural fiber on the planet. Again, to me, it's just baffling. It's just baffling that clothing makers and sheet companies and bedding companies and home goods with curtains and linens and tablecloths and all that stuff. Everyone should be using hemp, again, for their customers. You say, well, if it lasts longer, then it doesn't get replaced, which is something that, once again, the cotton industry loves. Yes, it's cheap, but no, it doesn't last very long, because then we make you go out and buy another one. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have the majority of my hemp clothing which I've had for, up to 20 years now, 25 years now, until I die, which is hopefully not for another 20 to 25 years. Knock on whatever, knock on some hemp. Um, and my kid's going to end up inheriting it, selling it at the auction because it's still going to be in decent shape. Very little hemp clothing, maybe 2%. Maybe 2%. And when I say 2%, you have to realize I have over 200 hemp shirts alone. So if maybe 2% of those, maybe not even 5%, have ended up getting holes in them or gotten into a condition where I couldn't wear them, And so it's 90% of them. Like I just put a hole in one of my shirts, but I did it because I poked into it, not just because it was from wear or wash or whatever. And the funny thing is, you can still barely see it, but obviously it happens. But this stuff, as we always said, it wears in. It doesn't wear out. So, all right, last thing I'm going to show you here is some hemp block construction. This is a rebuild in Britain of what used to be. They described it as stables on the bottom and like a livery on the top of this building, but they basically gutted it, the entire building, and then rebuilt it with hemp blocks. And we haven't seen a whole lot of hemp block construction. We saw a big project in France I've showed on the show where they used hemp blocks. I'd say that 9 out of 10 right now hempcrete projects are the spray-in hemp, what they really call insulation, as opposed to, say, walling. And once again, this was that corner sure looks like it would be load-bearing. I don't know. I saw framework, and they went in between framework in some of the pictures. But these are big hemp blocks. And so, this is, what I would say the equivalent, probably even larger than the equivalent of a typical cinder block. Well, once again, we can't use it for load bearing yet, but if we could come up with cinder blocks made out of hempcrete for huge cinder block construction, it would be, once again, a game changer in the hempcrete world. We're still working on all that, I think, getting worked out one way or another. But I think that, we need to get these things in production, and then we need to get them tested. And, I think the hardest part maybe about the testing is, and they can speed these processes up in a warehouse somewhere, which is how they test products to begin with. I feel like if we could mock up a 10-story hempcrete building and see how it weathers, see how it holds together under certain elements and whatnot, to prove that we can do it, and then do it. Now, there was a 10-story, I think it was at least 10 stories in Australia, and it is up and in operation, where it was hempcrete, the largest, tallest hempcrete building. Now, I still believe that it was a spray-in framework, so they framed in the whole building somehow, and then they sprayed in the hemp. But it is, and then, of course, in France, there are multiple buildings that are multiple stories made out of hempcrete. And so, I think that really the issue is probably more or less in the United States, which is fine. We have very high building standards. I can appreciate that. Okay. I don't want to walk into any building, any dwelling, that I think that if the wind kicks up, the whole thing's going to fall over. That's, one thing that I believe we should be watching very carefully, making sure that the ingredients are in fact long-term, short-term, safe for humans and animals and pets and whatnot. Construction is one of those things that I'm okay with. But yeah, this is a really neat project because they did the whole building, top floor and this bottom floor, in the hemp blocks. And kind of a new, it still looks like a natural color, but it almost looks like it's darkened or red, a little reddish in coloring. I don't know if they used any pigment in it or if that was just how the natural creek that they made into these blocks turned out to be the color of. But either way, pretty neat, no doubt about it. All right, well, there aren't a whole lot of events going on in the world these days. Didn't get any questions that I know of, not during the show or whatnot. If you have any questions you'd like to ask now, you can do that at the Facebook page. Just type them in, ask. You can also do that in the chat if you're watching on the Jedi Hemp channel on YouTube. That's the feed that I watch, so you can go to the chat there and ask me or make any statements, questions that you would like. Either way. So, all right, there you have it. Thanks everybody for watching this week's show, the High Noon Hemp Show. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next week.